Welcome back to our channel. Today we will bring to viewers the exciting and dramatic developments of the movie Beyond the Gates, which aired on Friday, June 6. Under the dim evening light of the cold suburbs, Eva stood silently by the balcony railing of her old apartment, her eyes turned towards the bare trees without a single leaf. The sound of the wind whistling through the glass window seemed to remind her that winter was approaching, not only outside but also in her heart. Tomas walked over, carrying 2 glasses of red wine, smiling slightly as he placed one in Eva's hand. They didn't need words, just meaningful glances. A light touch, a close breath. A moment between the two that seemed simple, but was so profound that it stopped time. They had overcome many storms together, but had never allowed themselves to stop to feel the true beating of their hearts. They fought, they hid, they compromised. Now, in this moment, all of that seemed to disappear, leaving only Eva and Tomas, 2 lonely souls who found a rare peace in the midst of chaos. However, they had no idea that right under their feet, in the cold basement that had been sealed for many years, something was stirring. Old memories that had never been cleansed. Secrets that had been buried deep inside, were beginning to resurface. Not far away, in a small apartment in the east of the city, Vanessa sat at the dining table, facing the husband she had loved with all her innocence and hope. Her eyes were no longer gentle, but instead cold and disappointed. She had discovered the truth, the gambling debts that her husband had hidden for months. What started as promises to make amends turned into midnight phone calls, veiled threats, and the feeling of being watched. Vanessa couldn't take it anymore. She loved her husband, but she couldn't continue loving someone who was dragging her down. So she turned to Joey, the only man she could trust at the moment. He was her college friend who had helped her when she was having trouble with her family, and now, he was her last hope. Joey not only helped Vanessa understand the complex web of debt her husband was in, but also discovered an even worse truth: Vanessa's husband not only owed money to underground gamblers, but was also involved in an organized money laundering system, where one wrong move could cause both husband and wife to disappear without a trace. Joey knew the risks of helping Vanessa, but he couldn't turn his back on her. As Joey digs deeper into the investigation, he discovers that the leader of this loan shark gang is none other than Tomas Godfather, a man Eva trusts completely. Things start to connect in a terrifying way. Eva, while immersed in new feelings for Tomas, is getting closer to an unforeseen danger. In a different, gentler but no less complicated rhythm, Chelsea is entering a completely new land: love. After many years of living in seclusion, suffering from the pain of a painful old relationship, she begins to realize the existence of a special person. No noise, no drama. But that person makes Chelsea feel seen, understood, and appreciated. On a late afternoon, when the sun is pouring golden light on her hair, Chelsea seeks out Naomi, her best friend since childhood. They sat together on an old bench in the park, where the autumn leaves still remained. Chelsea told Naomi about her new feelings, a feeling of anxiety, excitement, and fear. Afraid that if she fell in love again, she would fall again. But Naomi looked at her, took her hand, and whispered that love was not scary. The scary thing was missing the person who made you feel alive. Those words lingered in Chelsea, making her determined to try again, even if it hurt. What Chelsea did not expect was that the person she secretly loved was connected to Eva. That mysterious connection had not yet been revealed, but it was gradually revealing a complex network of relationships, where no one was completely innocent. Meanwhile, Eva began to have strange premonitions. The paintings on her wall often shifted out of place, even though she had fixed them carefully. The heater turned on by itself in the middle of the night, and dreams of a large black gate at the end of the hallway kept recurring. Eva didn't tell Tomas, afraid he would think she was suffering from prolonged stress. But something is not right. Joey, through his investigation, discovers a restricted area in the building where Eva and Tomas live, the 3rd basement that was sealed off after a mysterious disappearance more than 2 decades ago. The missing person is a young woman, who bears a striking resemblance to Eva. This makes Joey even more worried. He begins to monitor movements in the building, discovering that every time Eva touches the balcony railing on the top floor, a hidden camera is activated, sending a signal to an unknown receiving station. In an effort to help her husband, Vanessa accidentally overhears a phone call between him and a strange woman. The voice is cold, strange, but familiar. She doesn't sleep that night, and as dawn approaches, she discovers that her husband is gone, along with all the remaining cash in the house. At the same time, Chelsea receives an anonymous, handwritten letter that reads, "If you want to know the truth about the person you love, come to basement 3 at 2 a.m. The words make her tremble, but instead of fear, a part of her rises up, wanting to find out the secret that has been hidden for too long. Naomi stops her, but Chelsea is determined. She cannot love again without knowing who that person really is. When Chelsea sneaks down to the basement, Joey is already there. They have no idea that they are being watched. Behind an old mirror is a locked room. The room is filled with files, cameras, pictures of Eva from many years ago, and even recordings of her whispering her name in the middle of the night. All the clues seem to point to a horrifying conclusion. Eva wasn't the only one being watched, but the center of a years-long experiment involving altered memories, forged identities, and gates that should never have opened. At that moment, Eva woke up in her bedroom, sweat dripping from her forehead. Tomas was no longer beside her. She walked out, calling his name, but no one answered. The phone didn't work. The front door was locked from the outside. As she reached the balcony, where she had shared a special moment with Tomas, something strange happened. The city below had disappeared, leaving only a giant gate rising from the ground, with strange symbols glowing green. She heard a voice calling from deep in the basement, Chelsea's voice, but distorted and distorted. Eva doesn't know that the choice she's about to make, going down to the basement to find Tomas, will set off an irreversible chain of events. Buried memories, connections between Chelsea, Vanessa, Joey, and herself, will all be stripped away. But will the truth truly set them free, or is it just a portal to a world of no return? Eva slowly walks down the stairs to the basement, her heart filled with unease. The deeper she goes, the colder the air becomes, as if drained of life. On the moldy, mottled walls, strange scratches appear under the faint light from her phone's flashlight. She doesn't know that Chelsea is nearby, just a few walls away, also groping her way through the maze hidden deep beneath the ancient building. Every echo of footsteps, the sound of dripping water, and other indistinguishable sounds makes Eva hold her breath. In a small, dark room, Chelsea stood in front of a pinboard covered with documents, photographs, old data files, and a series of psychological analysis diagrams. In the center, standing out above all else, was a photo of Eva, taken when she was 12 years old. She was standing in front of a wooden house in the middle of the woods, her face expressionless. Handwritten red notes ran across the edges of the photo, describing unusual behavioral changes, unusual cognitive abilities, and something called a gate response. Chelsea was startled to find an old video clip placed in a metal tray. She shakily turned on the old projector, only to be shocked to see Tomas appear in the video. He was no ordinary person. He had been part of a project called Gates Protocol, a memory control program run by a secret organization decades ago. Tomas's real name was not Tomas. He was the 9th test subject, implanted with false memories to hide his true identity. Meanwhile, Joey sneaked into the data center, where the hard drive stored hundreds of thousands of records of residents who had lived in the building. Below her file was a series of surveillance activities, showing that she had been considered for selection but was rejected because of her strong resistance during the entrance test. Before Joey could digest the information, the power system was cut. The entire area was plunged into darkness. A loud noise rang out, like the sound of a heavy iron door being dragged across a cement floor. On the ground, Vanessa was unable to contact Joey. She decides to go it alone, following the symbols she saw in her husband's notebook, symbols that match the symbols on the bracelet Tomas once wore. Those clues lead her to an old abandoned library behind the city's old power plant. In a decaying cabinet, Vanessa finds a diary containing the confession of a technician who participated in the Gates Protocol project. The notes reveal that the test subjects never leave the program. Escapees are tracked down and returned to the gate, where all their true memories are sealed. Chelsea has no doubt now. The man she loves is not just a man with a shady past, he is part of a 3-decade-long human manipulation experiment. What shocks her even more is the discovery of a photo of Tomas and Eva together, from when they were teenagers. In the photo, both are wearing white uniforms, standing in front of the organization's symbol. Eva has no memory of this, but it explains the strange dreams, the vague flashbacks she often has, and why she always feels like she doesn't belong here. Joey finds an old, hand-drawn map that points to a place called the Central Core. He decides to go there, hoping to find a way to destroy the entire system and free those whose memories are trapped. When Joey reaches the central room, he realizes something horrifying: the portal is not a symbol. It is a physical entity, a giant metal structure hidden in concrete deep underground, maintained by the energy of dozens of human brains. One of them is still very active, connected to Eva. She is the key, the center of the entire project. All the other subjects' memories were synchronized and adjusted based on Eva's psychological reactions. She was not just a victim, she was the core. In that moment of realization, the portal began to shake. Emergency lights flashed red everywhere. The entire system seemed to collapse. Eva had found Chelsea now. They faced each other in a room that glowed with an eerie blue light from the control screens. Chelsea was no longer angry, but filled with regret. They were two women deceived, manipulated by the same system, the same man they had both trusted. They knew that the only way out was to destroy the core. Joey tried to disconnect the master brain, but the defense system kicked in. The automatic weapons activated, pointing directly at him. In desperation, he sacrificed himself, exchanging his own life to give Chelsea and Eva one last chance. As smoke and fire engulfed her, Chelsea carried Eva, now unconscious from data overload, through the burning corridor, escaping through an old fire escape that led to the edge of the forest. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through the trees, Chelsea saw Eva begin to move, her eyes no longer hazy but bright as if she had just been reborn. In the distance, helicopters appeared. But not to save her, but to capture her. Chelsea knew they didn't have much time. She had to protect Eva at all costs. Because she was now not just a survivor, but the last witness to a secret the world was not ready to face. It wasn't over yet. The portal might have been closed, but its creators were still out there, continuing to experiment, continuing to search for a replacement. And one day, they would return to reclaim what they had lost, the key called Eva. Please follow and subscribe to our channel to update the exciting and dramatic developments of the next ongoing episodes.